Come on, thank you. Welcome back to Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Anime Review, episode number 37. We're here reviewing the 40th episode of the series, Norn and Aisha. Now, this basically at this point, there's roughly about 10 more episodes to go. I don't think it'll hit 50 this season per se. I mean, it's only the second season of the show, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be a little surprised if it did. Yes. Because the first season was like, I think it was like 25, I think it was. I think it might be a possibility, but who knows? Might be get close. So this episode basically adapts from the final chapter from book 10. Does not adapt the two bonus stories that might adapt for a future episode. Excuse me, or even OVA. Excuse me. It does also have from the first three chapters of book 11. Because this episode here, book 10 is kind of like mostly done. The main story wise, there's bonus stories. Book most is mostly adapted. And now we're in book number 11. Now, there is some skipping here. Though, from what I can tell, it's mostly via montages. Yeah, they probably did this to cut down time because they're kind of adapting, in a way, three full chapters. Actually, four chapters. One from one book and three from another. So, we begin gnawing at the events of last episode, where after Aisha goes to hug her brother. Next episode opens up with, well, Rudius talking to Ryger. And Selfie taking a bath with the two girls. So they chat for a bit. The fact that he does feel that it's been a few years since basically that he had seen him, which in kind of in a way that's kind of true given the fact that this is book number the recipe you have in book 10. The last time these two encountered each other was the end of book 6. So in terms of the light novels, it's been 4 books. In terms of the anime, it's been a lot of episodes. It's like almost over half of a season half, for him to reunite with him. So he spent 2 years in Southern Jungles, and he went to the port where he met up with well, Rudy's father Paul, which these two had met before in the previous season show. So he agreed to basically travel with him. Of course, they had Ginger travel with them, who was not here. If you're curious, was there a scene that featured Ginger was cut from the episode? No. Not really. A lot of this conversation took place at a different location. They basically switched up with this one. So, right after this, basically, Rudius welcomes basically his sister to his home. The fact that, yay! Of course, Ashley's like, yeah, I could be your maid now. It's like, wait, first, let's do some schooling first. So they both agree to take a schooling exam. And, well, this is after Ryger leaves. Ryger, now the girls are very sad to see him go. And, of course, Norn doesn't really trust Rudius very much because he's a different woman, and the fact he punched her father in the face. Well, there's a good reason why. His father was being a jerk. Yeah. And so, basically, that they both agree to take the exam. So, they do. And there's a humongous chunk of book cut here. Because right after this, we have a montage, and then we have the results. If you're curious, what the heck was cut here? Well, here's what was cut. Rudy has been the vice principal, informing him basically what happened here, and then talking to Aisha and a few other people. Tell about this was coming there, and there's a bit of conversation cut a little bit later. What we'll get to that. So, now, Aisha passes, no problem. And she declares she needs to go to school. So, excuse me. And she agrees to be made. There's a bit of a conversation cut here, but it's not really important. I didn't think it was anyways. It was fine. I had no problem with this at all. The major cut, I think that was a bit unnecessary per se. The fact they had a huge chunk of story cut here. There was most of what Rudy is talking to people. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. The fact that he had to tell people he knows. The fact that his sister's basically at the school. His sister at the school. I'm surprised they cut that. But I'm glad they kept the scene that happens next. So, Aisha passes, and Norn Like, of course, she volunteers. She wants to go live in the dorms, which she did do in the book too. And they did. There's a bit of wording changing here. So Aisha has been upset because, well, Norn's a full blood sister. She's a half sister. She thinks, oh, because her mom is a now in the book she said mistress. In the anime, she said concubine. And Rudius, of course, realized something is really wrong here. Because he has never felt that way about Leela at all. He's kind of in a way first or like a second mom. Because Leela was Paul's second wife. Not mistress. Not concubine. Even he realizes basically, like, who told you that? She said her mom and Norn's grandma. Yeah, from what I can tell in the little bit of the books, Norn's grandma didn't really give a damn about Aisha at all. She basically didn't treat her like a part member of the family. So I think she had Paul's blood in her. That she may not be a daughter of her son or daughter Zenith. Yeah, that's basically her. Now, if you're curious, when in the world does Rudius meet his grandmother? He does not meet his grandmother until book 21. Yes, roughly a little over like 11 books after the scene. So it takes a long time to meet his grandmother. And of course, a lot of stuff has happened. Like a lot of stuff has happened. Part of that, and of course, reunites with his aunt, which they cut out of the anime for some reason. Now that I would not agree. I would not basically forgive season 1 for cutting it out, because why would you cut a scene with Rudius meeting his aunt? That made no sense. I still felt as though to this day that book 5 was not finished being adapted. They skipped a whole freaking chapter for no reason. Like, oh, maybe that for the OVA. Nope, it was basically a side story featuring Eris. Well, her off-screen adventure that they told. I still think they should adapt it. That's my opinion, anyways. So, of course, tells Nation, despite the fact they're half siblings, he always thinks of her as a regular sister. And of course, basically that, well, he tells her before this that just ask Sophie what she needs her to do. And of course, Norn basically is given some guidelines. Live in dorms. They had a little bit of dialogue here per se of the scene, where basically keep with school, make friends. One thing big is they kept that. I'm gonna cut this anime. Visit the house once every 10 days. Just basically know you're here. Try to make a bath, brush your teeth, basically normal stuff, basically. So, then right afterwards, by the way, that scene, that was the end of book 10. Well, that was the end of chapter book 12 for book 10. And then we jump straight into book 11 with basically the next day, where we have classes going on. We see look like Norn, who apparently she is wandering the school. And then we have Rudy is talking to the Beast Girls. This conversation is trimmed down because there's no mention of Norn at all, because the conversation doesn't mention his sister. With both of them anyways. So they mention, oh yeah, we got a present for you, this bag, and don't open it till you get home. Like, oh, this is very warm. And then as soon as he leaves class, Luke comes by and asks him to come to the student council room. He is informed that many women who have small breasts had their underwear stolen from them. Yep. Now, there's a lot of this cut from the anime related to this. The fact there's also mentioned later in the conversation he has with the Beast Girls about Roxy's panties. And the fact that they're part of some cult, per se. They really cut a lot of this out. My guess is because I think they probably brought up just have acknowledged that it's happened and have a conversation later and just move on. My guess is that maybe the animators, and this is my honest opinion, they probably were embarrassed by this little subplot. Yes, this little plot thread with the Beast Girls. They probably did not want a full adaptation of this or exploitation of the fact that, okay, so it's a little bit later. I'll get the conversation basically has with Ariel. So they say, oh yeah, they took some girls who basically they didn't take anything from said no. They gave new underwear, presumably the ones that fit. Now, all that stuff was expunged, cut for time, obviously. But in my honest opinion, I think it was cut not just due to time, probably because basically people who read this probably felt this storyline, this part of the book, be embarrassing to read. I mean, Beast Girl stealing a girl's panties. Just to amuse basically their boss. And now I'm going to talk about the whole thing with Eric. Now, this is a bit trimmed down, but not as much the Beast Girl stuff. Yeah, the Beast Girls, a lot of their dialogue was cut. Oh, by the way, Shinobi was actually in the chapters that they actually adapted here, but they cut him out of the anime. Yeah, Shinobi himself does make a brief cameo in the episode, but he doesn't speak a word. In the book, he does. They cut all his dialogue out for no reason. I mean, was it related to the sisters? Yes, presumably. I'm hoping one day that some of these episodes might get a director's cut so we can actually put that dialogue in. Because I keep thinking some anime could really get the treatment that ReZero Season 1 got. Where it was like, basically, even though it was basically combined epic, but they put like a lot of stuff cut for originally from the source material. I'm really hoping we might get the Mushoku Tensei. I think the first half of season 1 was fine. Second half really needs it. Especially the episodes after Book 5. There was a lot of Book 5 that they cut. Too much cutting, per se. This episode, I definitely could see that. Yes. So, there's the whole thing of like, the fact that Rudy denies the fact he had anything to do with this. He think the girl's orders to do this all because he just married Safi. Why in the world would he basically tell the Beast Girl to steal a girl's panties? And Ariel agrees with him, but basically it sounds ridiculous, but yeah. And of course, like, Safi, have you told her about our private life? She's like, no, I never would. It's just like, yeah, in the book, basically, it was, Ariel said it was for reaction. In the anime, it's for a test. So, since they're happy, and of course, Rudy tells her, can you please return these to the girls that were taken? Because he finds things that was in the bag. He's like, sure, no problem. And then he chastises the girls. But by the way, after the scene, then we have Ariel meeting Norn for the first time, where she introduces. They have a little bit of dialogue, and she's a leader of the student council. I was added in because I was not here. So Norn introduced herself, and she like looking late for class. She doesn't know where practice room 3 is, and well, Ariel asks Luke to escort her. He's like, sure. Now there's been cut out here the fact that he was born to be a playboy. Yep, they cut that line out, the fact that Luke is a playboy. Not sure why, but... And after that, then it was the conversation with the Beast Girls. And then the Beast Girls, they actually changed their dialogue here. It's like, what are you looking at? And of course, I was Scram. That was actually added in the anime. And then, of course, he tells the Beast Girls, that girl you just spooked off, that was my sister. Be nice to her. It's like, sure thing. And we also, the ending of the chapter is kind of after the episode. They kind of moved it a bit, where she hiding on the cover, she's like very embarrassed. She is very, from what you could tell, definitely, she has trouble at the school, like trouble making friends. She's a bit socially awkward. She's not antisocial. She's awkward. She's socially awkward around people. Because she's not used to this at all, from what I can tell. To be around a lot of people, because the only people she's been around is mostly her father, her sister, her brother, obviously, and Rager. Not many people. And being in a big place like the school, this is probably a bit too much, but don't worry. She does stay in the school, per se. And, well, she later ends up becoming basically, well, she has a side plot with her, which I'm kind of hoping when they adapt basically stuff for her, they don't cut her stuff from the anime. I really hope not, because her stuff with her is interesting. Like, she has a whole subplot in one of the books where it's like it's about basically a day of her school life. Yes. Also, she gets fanboys. Yes. She gets a dedicated fan club who follow around the school. And by the way, you're thinking, wait, popular girl gets followed a bunch of guys, and they get jealous over the fact to make her hang out with her. You're thinking, does it sound familiar? Yes. Mato to Love Ru would happen with Momo, where she got followed by a bunch of guys, and the fact that apparently that they thought that the main character was Rito, they thought he was monopolizing her. It was very similar to what happened in the Witches anime I watched. Yeah, so basically this happened. So I've seen 2 anime, but I'm hoping they adapt that because that is hilarious. The fact you have the sister of the main character being followed by 20 guys who basically all about protecting her divinity, whatever. It's weird, but it's a common Japanese trope. Basically, they would have this. So yeah, not much else to say about this episode. I enjoyed it. Did I mind the fact the major cut? I didn't like that. The only thing I didn't like about the episode was Rudy's interaction with a lot of characters. A lot of dialogue was cut for unnecessary. The only thing I didn't mind being cut was the panties plot. Yeah, a lot of that plot was cut out of the anime. I think that was perfectly fine. It just stuff related to the sisters that I had a problem with. But yeah, you're thinking, wow, 16 minutes for roughly a 23-minute episode? Well, I had a lot to say about this one. Okay, so that's pretty much it, particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and do not hit that dislike button. Next up, the Comic Corner, where it's reviewing issues from 2 different books. You'll find out what they are next. See you. Bye.